Hello and welcome to Hotelier's Voice. In this episode, we're looking at artificial intelligence in short-term rental. I'm going to be joined by Vered Raviv-Schwarz, the president and COO at Gesty, an all-in-one platform for short-term rental businesses to automate and optimize operations. As well as Ben Duncan, the commercial director for Host and Stay. Founded in 2017, the award-winning holiday let agency manages over 1,300 holiday lets across the UK. Their collection includes everything from cozy cottages to modern apartments and unique stays. We'll be looking at why AI is prime for short-term rental, how AI is being used already, and how it is helping Host and Stay with operations and management.
Welcome to Travel Market Life, your companion for industry insights and professional business development. Travel Market Life. Join us by webcast, video or podcast.
So joining me on the line now is Vered. Thank you very much for joining us today. So it's really interesting, the area of artificial intelligence. Why is it so prime for the SDR sector?
I think what we always saw at the short-term rental industry is that was really tech first compared to other hospitality managers such as the hotel industry. Because if you think about it, I'm not talking about cottages from 100 years ago. I'm talking about the modern online travel agencies from Airbnb and Vrbo and so on. When you start a hospitality business on short-term rentals, you really need to use technology to bridge the gap of having dispersed properties and having limited resources in terms of staffing and fortune. So a lot of the short-term property managers started with embracing technology, using it for effective operations. And that's what we try to do at Gesty, right? We try to streamline operations, automate a lot of processes, and really allow them to do more with less. And if you think of AI is really another layer of newer technology enabling us to streamline even further, to automate even further, to use AI in different manners to improve communications and operations and pricing strategies and so on and so forth.
Gesty's been around pretty much since the advent of Airbnb, which completely changed the sector. It was all very old-fashioned back in the day where you had to email or you had to phone the host, and it was all done very manually. So you've had a great opportunity here to really lay out a blueprint of how technology should be developed and provide those ease of automation and support that businesses need. Are you seeing that there are similarities with other sectors, or does SDR stand out quite uniquely in its own right?
Well, definitely AI has impacted all industries, and we see it in e-commerce, in all technology sectors, in all SaaS platforms for sure. We even see it internally in the way we respond to customers, in the way we develop, right? Everything has some AI sprinkled on top in recent years. But definitely for the short-term rental industry, as I've mentioned, since we're really thinking of how to be very effective, it means a lot. And just to give you an example, if you can use our Reply AI tool to generate automated responses to your guests, and we see customers saving between 20% to 50% of responses by using the AI tool, think about what it means in terms of headcount and time saving.
Absolutely. I mean, as you say, there are sort of thin profit margins when it comes as well to managing holiday lets some of the time. And as you say, well spread out. So, how do you get staff to be on the ground at all the properties at all one go? And you mentioned, one of the tools that is using artificial intelligence. Tell us about the other ways in which STRs are benefiting from AI at the moment.
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, communications is really top, and we see it as the main use cases for many of our customers. There are different tools out there. Again, our tool is one of them, but it allows you not just to respond automatically, but really to integrate all the history of the communications and then have the AI agent be not just more quick, but actually more thorough and accurate in the responses. And you can adjust today your tone of voice and really create the feeling of a human when you answer. So it's very, very popular, and it's a huge time saver for our customers. Another really popular area is reviews. We all know how we, as property managers, have to live by reviews. And it's the most important thing is for many of our customers. How do I track my reviews? How do I eliminate or respond as quickly as possible to any negative reviews, and so on and so forth? So with our new tool that we released 2 months ago for reviewing with AI, we can automatically categorize all the negative reviews based on the different needs or issues arising, such as noise, cleaning, communications, check-in, or otherwise, and then very quickly analyze and allow the property manager to correct them. So think about it. If you know you have negative reviews about a certain property because of noise, think what you do about it. If you know you need to up your cleaning at a certain facility or change something in the amenities, you can act about it quickly and improve your reviews immediately. So that is also a very big game changer. I think the first use case that we've seen in AR in our industry is around dynamic pricing. It's been around for years. There are several tools out there. And we also have the Gesty Price Optimizer as the own tool that we released at Gesty. But all of them rely on AI to really allow you to automatically improve your pricing strategies, and based on real life data and historical data and predictions that we collect from the market, allow you to adjust pricing again automatically with the AI tool. We've seen customers get 25% increase in revenue as a result of the use of the tool, and 10% increase of occupancy, which is huge. So that is another very popular case. And I'd say the last one that I would highlight here is the use of AI for marketing and content writing and descriptions of the listings, etc. There are definitely a lot of tools available specifically for our industry and just industry agnostic. We have our AI assistant website builder that allows you to automatically generate content and SEO friendly content specifically, and really improve your website descriptions and content as a result of the use of the tool. So that's also been very popular with our customers.
That's wonderful. Well, let's hear from one of your customers that's actually using these algorithms. We've got Ben Duncan, Commercial Director at Host and Stay. Thanks ever so much for joining us. And obviously, congratulations, firstly, on now having 1,300 properties within your portfolio. That must be quite a task to manage.
Yeah, quite the operation. Hi, Ryan. Good to be joining the podcast. And hi, Vered as well. Always a pleasure. Yeah, quite the operation we're running. Now we've grown a lot over the last 7 or 8 years and got quite a large team, large amount of technology in use as well. So it'd be, been looking forward to the conversation around AI and how we're using it across the business.
Interesting. Yeah. I mean, so tell us then, let's dive straight in then, Ben. How are you using AI within the business? What does it affect and impact at different roles amongst your team?
So effectively, we're using it across varying areas, predominantly guest facing. Obviously, that's quite high volume in terms of inbound contacts. Reviews is another one that I know Vered's already mentioned, both of those, but we're using AI products in both of those areas quite extensively. Some of the other areas which we're using are commercial and sales driven tasks. So booking extensions, being able to take targeted approach to that and identify opportunities to extend bookings for unsold nights and so on. So pretty extensively across the business, and we've got quite a large tech team now that working on other new and exciting ways for us to use it ultimately that'll be able to deliver commercial value, whether that's increased revenue or cost savings ultimately.
So let me ask you this question of when did you recognize you were using artificial intelligence? Because I know it sort of sits underneath it all and you don't necessarily realize it's there until someone tells you or you start to recognize the benefits. When did you really realize the importance of AI to your business and what were you doing? What was it doing for you?
Sure. I mean, we've been using dynamic pricing for probably six years now, I think. And it's always been a key part of how we run the business. Obviously, pricing our properties is a crucial role that we have as a property manager and one of the most important. So we've been utilising it on that side of things. But the real area where we've started to see a huge value from it that's directly related to AI, because pricing and dynamic pricing is a bit more complex than just an AI algorithm. Ultimately, some of the areas where we've seen the biggest value of just using AI-powered tools is on our guest messaging and also on review management, which is one of the key areas that we've been focusing on across this year, is the quality of properties and the management of quality, which you have to be super proactive on with the landscape changing, and the OTA is putting more and more onus on making sure that guests are having positive experiences. So one of the key areas that we've employed and are delivering a lot of value to the business on is on the guest review management. So we've got quite a extensive workflow around how we manage guest reviews. We launched a product, actually coincidentally, this exactly 12 months ago. So it's our review management AI system's birthday today, which we launched that 12 months ago using our own team developed it, and effectively it utilizes Gesty's API. We were able to pull our reviews out. Every single review that a guest leaves, we can pull it out of Gesty's system via API. And then we're using, actually, I think it's ChatGPT to review each review and pull out the specific points that the guest has left. So if the guest has left a review and left some positive points around location, etc., fantastic. But it'll also highlight if the guest has left something like there's a stain on the carpet and the carpet needs cleaning. So if you think prior to us using AI on that, effectively we would have had to have someone manually reviewing the reviews, reading them, responding to them, and then picking up that task to go and clean the carpet. What our system is now able to do is pull the review out of Gesty, review it, and then go back through Gesty's API into Breezeway, which is a task management system that we use, and create that task automatically for one of our team to go and effectively check the carpet or go ahead and do a complete carpet clean straight away, which sounds like quite a lot of technology involved to do a simple task. But when we're operating at scale, like that streamlined process is absolutely crucial from first of all, saving a significant amount of labour hours. Ultimately, we've worked it on about 10 minutes per review to be able to do that. But additionally, actually having a streamlined process that enables us to get on top of issues like that and resolve them with effectively no delay is crucial, because before you know it, you've got your next booking in the following day or the next week, and you can quite easily rack up 3 negative reviews due to the same issue. So it's crucial that you've got speed and you're able to act on information that's coming back from guest reviews as quickly as possible, which is what using AI tools gives you the opportunity to do ultimately.
I mean, it's 1,300 properties. Now, that's not 1,300 rooms. I mean, you've got a hell of a lot more rooms than that, I can imagine. But that's 1,300 profiles. It's not like a hotel where if it's one review profile that you got to respond to, it's 1,300, and you've got all your guests coming in and out of it on a daily basis. So it's such a huge amount of volume there. So it must be interesting within the business, speaking to your tech team, looking at ways you can integrate these technologies, looking at artificial intelligence and how it can really improve what you're doing. How has your perspective and awareness of AI changed, and how much is it part of that conversation of how can we do things better?
Without wanting to sound a bit cliche, it genuinely is part of most of our conversations when we're looking at solving problems as a management team, and particularly more digital related ones, i.e. is it online somewhere, whether that's guest messaging or phone calls or queries, issues with the website and so on. Like, a key part of how we now solve problems is considering whether there is actually an opportunity to use AI to do a lot of the things that we would normally be reliant on one person to do. So it's effectively, we're now fully exploring that as one of our solutions to potential issues rather than purely sort of legacy technology, if you like. So it's a key part of how we solve problems now, which is why you can see it in place across all different areas of the business, because as particularly over the last 12 months, as other tools, whether that's some of Gesty's tools, third-party tools that are available in Gesty's marketplace, which is obviously extensive, or tools that we're able to develop ourselves, there's so much that you can actually do with it, and being able to leverage that to be more efficient, to be quicker, more agile is crucial as we go forwards.
Yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely. And you need to be so responsive nowadays to consumers' expectations, their demands, as well as how the market is changing. So let's look at the numbers, the commercial impact, shall we, Ben? I'd love to hear a bit more about where you're seeing that commercial impact. How is it really sort of elevating your business?
Sure. Yeah, I've got some good numbers to talk about, definitely. I think probably the one that I was most excited about in terms of our use of it was how we're optimizing targeted offers for orphan nights. So one of the issues that everyone in the industry will have managing properties in short-term rentals is where you've got gap nights. Effectively, you've got a booking for 4 nights, which is great, and then you've got a 1 night gap and then another booking, and you can't sell the 1 night gap because it's not viable to do so and to have a changeover for a 1 night stay. So effectively, what we used to do, going back to when we first started using Gesty about 5 or 6 years ago now, was I would sit and review the calendars and look for these gap nights, identify, all right, well, is it worth sending that guest either side a message to see if they'll be interested in extending the stay for a discounted rate. So it worked quite well. I had pretty good conversion on it, actually. But as you get bigger, it's more and more difficult to actually do that. How you manage the process on the back end is more difficult. And it's when you get to the scale that we're at, could actually be someone's full-time job to go and do that task, right? So it's just not realistic to do. Ultimately, what we've now got on that side of things is we have AI scraping our calendars to be able to identify where there is an orphan night that we can't sell. And what it then does is we've got a workflow set up whereby when it's identified it messages the guests either side of the booking to let them know that the night either pre or post their stay is available. And if they'd like to book it, they can book it for a 30% discount. See, it's a very aggressive discount, really appealing to guests, but it works for us because it would be sat empty otherwise. And we've got no additional cost for a changeover fee and so on. So we've had that rolling for 6 months or so now, and the numbers on it are really impressive, actually. So it's running at about 16% conversion over the last 6 months. And so that means that of all of the orphan nights that we've had, which are inevitability to some extent, we've generated bookings into 16% of those, which is massive. Over 600 orphan nights that we've sold over the last 6 months. And the key thing that I always think about from that point of view is going back to the basics of some revenue management, is that you've got 31 nights or 30 nights in that calendar. So every additional night that you can sell, you're increasing your occupancy by 3%. So making such small changes and leveraging AI to sell that additional night once a month, or even if it's once every 3 months, has a massive impact when you're operating at scale. And by scale, I don't mean over 1,000. If you've got a portfolio of 50 properties, this can have a massive impact on your financial numbers and your profitability. So I think it's a key area that property managers should be looking at and trying to leverage AI for. Either that or sit and go through the calendars on an evening with a glass of wine while you're watching TV like I used to.
I say it gives you your evenings back, doesn't it? And also that nitty gritty data analysis and collection and inputting and all the things that I think we're all pretty much over now if a computer can do it for you. Now, Ben, why did you select Gesty as a partner?
Having to go back many years now, I think ultimately at the time it was the best in class. And I mean, probably what's more pertinent is the reason why we continue to be a partner with Gesty and why we're still a client of theirs. And ultimately it's because first of all, security of the API connections and consistency of them, the things that we can't afford is having integration issues with the OTAs that are causing properties to go offline and to go on to stop sale. Can't afford to have double bookings, which we get very few of. So all those types of boring things, which are ultimately a baseline of what your functionality should be. UI, it makes adoptability super easy for new team members. Yeah, that's one of the key areas. I'm quite an advanced Gesty user now. I haven't used it for several years, but we can very easily get new staff members trained up on it and an understanding of it. And probably the third one's the API and being able to use that across all of our different applications, whether that is through existing marketplace connections with Gesty partners or integrating into our own systems. So we have for example, a finance processing system, which we developed 4 years ago now, I think, roughly, maybe just before that, maybe 5. And we developed that in-house using Gesty's API and have continued to use that for 5 years and continue developing it. So yeah, that's one of the key areas that the team use a lot of. And yeah, they're probably the three main reasons why we continue to use them, and hopefully we'll do going forward.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ben. Appreciate your time and your insights there in and around how you're using AI at Host and Stay. And Vered, thank you very much as well for explaining Gesty's approach to AI and how you're embedding it within your tools.
Thanks, Ryan. Always a pleasure.
So that was artificial intelligence in short-term rental as part of Hotelier's Voice. Thanks again to Vered Raviv-Schwarz, the President and COO at Gesty, and Ben Duncan, Commercial Director for Host and Stay. For further information and for the links, please look into the podcast description. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes. Thanks for listening. Ciao for now.
For more, go to Travel Market Life. The music sensation by Zach Nelson is reproduced under license from Storyblocks. Travel Market Life is a Haynes Marcoms digital marketing agency production, serving the travel and technology industries.